Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I hope you're doing okay. Funny story, tragic story, interesting story. This week we had a news about a bull, dangerous bull on the loose. Is the story that came out on Tuesday, just around the last quarter moon. If you're interested, and it was there's a bull on the loose, and so stay in your house, don't go outside. Dangerous animal on the loose. A bit later on, we found out that it actually escaped from the abattoir. There's the good old Isle of Man. And the abattoir, we have an abattoir. Okay, there's just like one, and it stinks. You walk past here. There's a public footpath. It leads you onto these fields, and as a young man, I used to like to go around these fields. And I used to have to walk past the abattoir, and it stinks of death. If you don't know what death smells like, oh, that's what death smells like. You can smell it, and it's just a dirty place. I don't want to, I'm sure now it's all cleaned up and beautiful and wonderful, but it stinks like death. And when I remember, there was just like vats of blood, it's like large containers full of blood along here. Horrible place. So they found out I found out this bull escaped from the abattoir and ran off. In the video at the end, it actually seems to me from the picture, it ended up in this field over here, which is close to a main road, and there are some people live around here. And the news was, it ran past a primary school, so you've got to save the kids always. Don't miss the opportunity to save the kids. So it either ran down the road, which I don't know if it's going to run down the road. I imagine it'd probably see a car and turn off into one of these fields. But yeah, any time it's running, probably went through the graveyard, round the back of the school, near the school. But I mean, I don't know. But for it to end up here, sorry, chances are it probably could have run down the road, I suppose, and gone in through here. Anyway, don't know how you feel about it. Bull escapes death. So he's going to get slaughtered, and he ran away from the abattoir. Escaped. And basically, in the end, they safely contained the bull. And that obviously doesn't mean safely contain the bull. There's a video on YouTube, I'll put a link in. But basically they shoot the bull. The police come out and shoot him. One sniper and one guy with a handgun. Obviously, very dangerous animal, very dangerous for the public. But the story behind this, the idea that the animal, one perspective would be as he was going to get killed and he didn't want to get killed. And rightly so, he was very angry about the fact he was going to get killed. Escaped the abattoir, ran for freedom, which any person would do. But then in the end, he was shot dead. And I get it, so many perspectives on the story. I know nothing about it, but there's a vegan dream in this, isn't there? Obviously, don't use animals for your own promotion or whatever, but if you ever wanted to become a vegetarian or wanted a story about an animal possibly showing its humanity, let's say. I don't want to add a, what is it, personification? Is it personification? I don't want to personify, and it sounds funny to say that, personify the bull, but there you go. It was going to get killed. It ran away and got to freedom. Rightly so. Any person put in that position would do the same thing if they had the chance. But unfortunately, the threat to the society was deemed too great and they shot him dead. Which is a shame. In contrast, there was a story a week before this of a person who has a long history of violence, mental health problems, but a long history of violence, and he also escaped 2 weeks ago and was running around the Isle of Man. Similar story. except he's obviously a person who needs help, and you know, I don't know nothing about it, but he stabbed 2 people. One is in hospital. I'm not sure about the condition, but I haven't heard he's dead anyway. But I think the guy is actually being done for attempted murder. But they didn't shoot him dead. They caught him and given him the help that he needs. So it's just interesting. In 2 weeks, we've had these 2 similar situations. Not similar situations, but kind of similar situations. One is a man escaped custody or prison. He was in prison. I've seen the stories from before. He's been in prison since a few years. He's been in prison, in and out of prison for violence, and then even in prison committed violence, and then somehow he escaped again and was running around the island. There was a warning put out telling people to stay in their homes, the same as this bull. There was a warning put out: avoid the area, dangerous animal, dangerous person, don't engage, don't go near it. But one story ended with the entity being captured and given the help that they need and the respect that they deserve, you know, as a human being. And the second story, which is the unfortunate bull, ended with the bull's death. Interesting. Let me know what you think. For me, it's a vegan dream. That's the top. That's the title today. Vegan dream. Just the thought that you could frame this story as this great escape of this animal that didn't want to die, rightly so, escaped to freedom, was angry about people wanted to kill him, ran off, but then he got shot dead. It really is an interesting situation, and when you contrast that with the previous week, just a week before, I think I've got his name saved. There you go. Shouldn't put his name up, but there you go. This fella. You can go through and you can see that since, 1st of February, drug dealer. He was a drug dealer, and it gets a bit crazy. All the way back to 2023, he's got bad situations, and then it culminated with him escaping and stabbing 2 people last week, and the police caught him, and the same thing, issued a warning, stay away from the area, there's a dangerous person around, and they captured him. Now this week, just 1 week later, obviously not the same situation, but lots of echoes. Police issue a warning, there's an escaped, you can't say animal, yeah? I don't mean to say he's an animal, but here there's an escaped animal. It's a similar echo thing, but I understand that, like, in this story, the animal rightly escaped his own death because he was going to be murdered. This story, the gentleman needs help, and we give him the help that he needs because he deserves it, because we respect humans. This story, the animal doesn't get the respect and gets shot dead. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Very interesting, I think. You have a good evening, good afternoon, and a good night. Bye-bye.